Hey, what's up, YouTube? So this is a little different from what you usually see on my channel. You usually get like some gameplay from my stream, like a highlight video. Um, by the way, I stream every day. Link will be in the description. A little promo. Go check it out. Um, but yeah, this video, the reason I want to make this video is because I've been playing Valorant basically every day, and I've been putting in hundreds of hours into the game. And I've been also consuming a ton of Valorant content, like watching all these tournaments with all these like high-level CS pros and Apex pros and pros from other FPS genres like Rainbow Six Siege. They had the big ESPN event, and I want to talk about like the state of the game, right? And what like the big glaring issues that Valorant has, and what I think potentially they might be able to do to fix it. I might do videos like this, like every few weeks to a month, just to kind of as the game grows and progresses. The gameplay in the background is just something I recorded. I think I'm playing Sova, but the gameplay isn't important. What's important is what I'm going to talk about, right? So in games like this, the only other comparisons you have are like Counter-Strike and like Rainbow Six Siege, right? They're like the two biggest games you can compare this to. Mostly CS:GO, but Rainbow Six has like some sort of like similarities to it, right? Those two games have inherent things that make attackers able to even play the game. So in Valorant, before we get on saying that, in Valorant, defenders have advantage. If you watch any of the big events, the defenders will win 10 to 12 of the rounds easily, right? And then they flip and they switch, and now they have to attack, and then they have to get those 1 to 2 extra rounds to win the game. Or it goes to like a super long game where it ends up being 12-12 and they have to do a tiebreaker, right? Because it's so heavily defender dominant, the game. And the reason it's super heavily defender dominant is because the game is a mirror, right? You have the same agents on both sides, you have the same guns on both sides, and there's no peeker advantage in this game. In CSGO, if you look at it, they have peeker advantage, obviously, but also the attackers, which are the terrorists in that game, have AKs, right? There's a difference. They have different weapons. In Rainbow Six Siege, the attackers have completely different kits, right? They have different skills. They have different weapons completely than the defenders. The defenders have completely different skills and completely different guns, right? And the way that those characters are made are to facilitate and they also have peeker advantage in Siege, right? To facilitate a kind of like unbalanced gameplay a little bit, right? Because it is harder for, like, it's inherently harder for someone to push a location than it is for someone to defend a location, right? If you're defending a location, you have control of the angles and they need to push you, right? So which that makes the game harder for the people attacking. So they need to give them some sort of way to equalize the balance in the game. And in Valorant, there is no way to equalize the balance because there's no peeker advantage and you all have the exact same guns. So if they're holding an angle, they will be able to defend that point, right? So you waste all your skills to take the point in Valorant. They back off the point. Now they use all their skills to retake the point and kill you and defuse the bomb, right? And that's what I've noticed in pretty much all the tournaments. So how do you fix that without changing like core things like adding peeker's advantage? I'd say you have to implement heroes. I think the best way would be to implement agents on attack and defense, personally, to create a better balance, right, in the game. And that's like the Rainbow Siege method, right? But if you don't want to do that, maybe do the CSGO and have specific guns for specific sides of the map, right? Only have the Vandal on attack and only have the Phantom on defense, right? And that would be a way to balance the game. Like in Counter-Strike, the terrorists only have AKs and the counter-terrorists only have M4s. And then you can pick up the guns, right? Like you can pick up a Vandal as a counter-terrorist if you win the round, and now you have the AK, and now you have the more advantageous gun on your side, right? And now that it's like an ebb and flow, right? I don't know how they're going to fix that, but there needs to be some way. I don't know if implementing peeker's advantage is a way to fix it. But it's gonna be interesting to see how they fix that, because it's pretty bad. Like, some of the maps are bearable, like Bind and Haven, but Split is insane. Like, it's 12-0 almost every time on Split. Like, if you are a defender at a high level with 5 people communicating, you should not lose a defense on Split. It's insane, which is really bad for the health of the game, especially when you get into ranked and even higher ranks. It's going to get to a point where it's unbearable, right? The next thing is that they have been doing pretty well, and that's balancing characters. Like, Ray's had inherent issues, and really strong independent character at any point of the game. Like even at the low MMR to the high MMR, because the game does have skill-based matchmaking. Ray's was an inherently strong champion all the way through. But if you notice, and so also Sage is inherently a strong character all the way through, and they both receive nerfs. But these nerfs to specific agents need to come, I don't know, I guess at a faster rate, in my opinion. Some people might not say that Breach is busted, but I think Breach is still one of the strongest team-based characters in the game. His skills are insanely powerful when you have a full 5-man squad communicating. And this game is team-based, and when you get 5 people on a team communicating properly, his skills are just insane. Him and Brimstone, their skills are nuts, right? Which is why, like, they're some of the top tier champs in the game. And I think them doing that and patching those things is pretty important. But overall, the health of the game, as you can say, like the state of Valorant, which is what I might name this video, is pretty good. They just need to find a way to fix that defender's advantage, right? And that could be by adding peeker's advantage, adding that little delay where the peeker can get around the corner and then they can test each other. Because currently it's insane, right? Or, like I said, do the Counter-Strike method where there's guns specific to each side, or the Siege method where there's defenders specific to each side, right? They did say that they plan to add a pick ban phase once there's more agents in the future, which I think would be great, because but what I think they should do with that pick ban phase is ban the agents to the opponent, not to yourself, which would be an interesting concept, right? And it might lead to potentially people banning the same agents on both sides, right? And them wasting bans. But that might be interesting to have, like, you know, I don't want them to have this agent. You know, maybe they'll leave it open for us because they know that, you know, we might not need it on defense or something, you know what I mean? But in the future, as they add more agents, maybe having attack-specific agents or defense-specific agents might be something that they pursue or look into, like Siege, right? Because Siege has so many operators. They have like 30 operators on each side of the attack and defense. But yeah, just food for thought. Overall, I love the game. The game's amazing. For the 4 weeks that it's been out, I've been loving the game. I've putting hundreds of hours into it. Getting used to the randomized spray patterns, like in 1.6. Getting back to that compared to like what CSGO was or is, right? But overall, I love the game. Tell me what you think that they could do to fix this whole thing in the comments below. I would love to hear your guys' feedback. Tell me how you guys have been enjoying the game. I think it's, like I said, has been great. There are some things that they need to fix, especially at the higher levels of the game, like especially at the higher competitive levels, that I think are going to be inherent problems with the game that might make people leave. But other than that, super lit. I love it. And maybe check out my stream. Like I said, it'll be linked in the description. I stream every single day. I've been streaming Valorant a ton. And peace out, guys.
Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me.